Good morning, Roland Martin.
Tom Sybil, God, good morning, good morning. It is, of course, a great weekend. Headed to Charlotte, the National Caucus of Black Legislators, talk about education. So looking forward to chat with them in a few hours. Tom, let's get right into it. So many of us watched the Amber Guyger trial, the woman who was convicted of murder for killing Botham Jean. And there were so many questions that people had in terms of the actions of Judge Tammy Owens, and so she reached out to us, and she joins us right now from Dallas, Texas. Judge, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Doing great. Judge, I got to ask you, first and foremost, so many people have been talking about your decision in terms of handing Amber Guyger a Bible, coming off that stage and giving her a hug, embracing her in the courtroom. Explain what took place. What happened there? Why did you do that?
Well, in every murder trial, I usually go and talk to the victim's family. And I did that in this case. I talked with all of the John family. I hugged all of the John family. And we talked about their son and what a great individual he was and what a great loss this was. And after I spoke with them, I was heading back to my bench, and I just saw Miss Guyger, and she looked really hurt. So I just said to her, Mr. John has forgiven you. Forgive yourself so you can live a purposeful life. And then she asked me some questions. She asked me if I thought her life could have purpose after this. She asked me if I thought God could forgive her, and I said yes to both questions. And then she mentioned that she didn't own a Bible, she didn't have a Bible, and she didn't know where to begin. And I just told her, well, hold on, I'll get you a Bible. And that's what I did. And when I came back after we talked about where she might begin and a few other questions she had, she asked me if I would give her a hug. And I was startled, but when she asked a second time, I said, yes, of course I'll give you a hug, because I thought it was my Christian duty to extend compassion and love to her. And I want her to come out of prison a better person than she was going in.
This was a trial where you had cameras in the courtroom. Was this the first time you had ever hugged somebody who had been convicted of murder, convicted of a crime?
It's the first time I've ever hugged somebody who had been convicted of murder and was on their way to prison. But I've hugged a lot of other defendants, and I've also tried to give all of them words of encouragement. But I don't just bring up the Bible or God or that. That was at Miss Guyger's initiation. And Miss Guyger had literally transformed before my eyes. She was really a broken lady at the end of that trial. And I did want her to come out of prison better than she was going in, because she's not going to be gone for so long that she's not going to rejoin our society.
Also, so many people saw the video of the bailiff in the courtroom who was stroking the hair of Amber Guyger. I saw you on Tamron Hall's daytime talk show where you explained what took place, what actually happened in that situation, because she's been ripped left and right for what she did.
That almost as much as what you, your hug and compassionate moment with her as well, Judge Kemp, that just struck a lot of people.
Well, that's sad, because clearly the viewers are uninformed about the prison system, which in a sense is a good thing, but the bailiff was not stroking her hair. Every woman that enters the Dallas County Jail will have every area of their body searched. And because we were on a lunch break and I didn't want Miss Guyger to go into the jail, she had been taken into custody because she had been found guilty. And the bailiff was searching her hair for contraband and or weapons, which is standard procedure for Dallas County. They're going to search a woman and a man's hair, but particularly with women because they generally have longer, thicker hair. So she was examining her hair to see if there were any contraband and or weapons in her hair. She was not stroking her hair. And if you'll watch the video in its entirety, you'll see Miss Guyger has kind of thick hair, and she was lifting it and examining it to make sure there was nothing there.
Are you surprised by the visceral reaction from so many people, especially African American, as a result of this trial, Judge Kemp?
Actually, I'm not, because of what I recognize is that for many African Americans, there's just hurt and grief and agony. And a lot of people disputed the jury's verdict as limiting Ms. Guyger's sentence to 10 years. But that was not anything I had any power or input into. That was a decision of the jury. And for the first time in a long time, a white officer was being held accountable for the death of an innocent black person. And I think the public at large wanted a lot higher sentence, but they just wanted to let all of their grief out in this Amber Guyger case. And I don't think one verdict is not going to make up for all of the other miscarriages of justice. And we have to remember, we had a very diverse jury. I had 5 African Americans, 5 Hispanics, and 2 whites on this jury. They reached the decision that they reached, and I'm not going to argue with or dispute the jury's verdict.
We got a lot of questions from people about the Castle law that was
Castle Doctrine. Yeah,
the Castle Doctrine that was brought in as you were giving the jury their instructions. Was that a part of the discussion, or was that entered in the trial itself?
I don't know that I understand your question. When you allowed the jury to consider the Castle Doctrine, what was the legal basis of those instructions to the jury?
In Texas, if a defendant can put forth even a scintilla of evidence concerning a particular defense, they are entitled to that defense, no matter how good or how bad the court might view that defense. And so, generally speaking, when you say that you kill someone in self-defense, no matter how good or how bad the evidence of that argument is, you're entitled to have that defense as part of your jury instruction. And the jury can deliberate whether or not you've met the requirements to receive that defense. In this case, they decided not. And had I... Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, ma'am. Go ahead.
You said, had I?
If you deny a defendant a defense that they've put forth even the tiniest amount of evidence indicating that they're entitled to that defense, then in all probability that case will be reversed and have to be retried.
So you're giving those instructions were part of factoring in the potential of a conviction and appeal, and then the court then reversing the jury's decision.
Yes.
And the last thing is people are asking, Judge Kemp, is about your relationship with the policemen's union, and thinking that there might have been your previous relationship may have colored some of the things that happened in the courtroom. Can you address that?
Well, I don't necessarily have a relationship with the policemen's union.
Have they endorsed you?
They have endorsed me in each of the races that I've been running. And in each of the races that I was running, I had an opponent. They examined the both of us and thought I was better qualified.
Okay.
Well, Judge Tammy Kemp, certainly appreciate you joining us. And
I sure do appreciate it.
Background behind this, and
yes.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Judge Kemp.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good job, Sybil and Roland.
And prayers to the sister in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
The Jefferson family.